Into the Light is finally here. We're farming Onslaught and fighting waves and waves of the Witness's toadies. And part of the deal is that Shaxx is opening up his forbidden armory to give us weapons that were once deemed too heretical to be in active service. And one of those weapons is the Stranger's Rifle, but she's no longer a stranger, so we just call it Elsie's Rifle. And I'm just going to come out and address the elephant in the room. I'm going to start the video with the question that everybody's asking, right? This pulse is a high-impact 3-round burst, right? So why do I need an Elsie's Rifle when the Messenger exists with adept mods and god tier perks? It's literally the best pulse rifle in Destiny 2 and has been for a long time. So let me address that question real quick before we start diving into the nitty gritty and getting all up inside of Elsie's undercarriage to see what she's working with. Here's what you need to know. Elsie's Rifle has 35 more stat points under the hood than the Messenger does. Yeah, you heard me right. The Messenger, the stat monster that everyone loves, has 35 fewer stat points than Elsie's Rifle does. Well, okay, but does it have, the banger perks that Messenger has? Like, Desperado, Headseeker, Kill Clip, Under Over, Keep Away. Yeah, it does. It's got all those. And some other cool stuff too. So hopefully we've got your attention. Now let's start parsing this thing down so we can get a good feel for what makes Elsie's Rifle unique, starting with the base stats. Obviously, Elsie's Rifle is in the energy slot. It's a void pulse rifle, so that's another way that it differs from the Messenger. Maybe you wanted to use something like the Messenger, but you wanted to use a kinetic weapon that is different than the Messenger. Hey, this is a good option for you then. And let's go down the list here. We've got 60 range on Elsie's Rifle, which is pretty comparable to Messenger's base 64. It's got 55 stability, which is basically the same as Messenger's 54. But where it pulls ahead of the Messenger is in the next two stat values with handling and reload speed. Elsie's has 42 handling, which is very, very high for this family of pulse rifle. That's more than an adept handling mod, more than Messenger's 31, right? It's 11 more. Handling is a sort of massively slept on stat value too. Like ready and stow speeds and ADS speeds are all crucial parts of your dueling game. Having 11 handling more than the Messenger is definitely noticeable. And I love the Messenger. I've got over 6,000 Messenger kills in PvP. I'm very familiar with how the gun feels. Next, Elsie's Rifle has a reload speed of 60. Friggin' 60, y'all. That is absurd for a high-impact pulse rifle. The Messenger, for comparison's sake, it's got 38 reload speed. That's a difference of 22. That's insane. Elsie's is just doing all the things that we like the perks on the Messenger to do, but without needing a perk to do it. Elsie's just got that extra juice. Oh, and Elsie's Rifle has a little more aim assist and a little more airborne effectiveness too. Which also got far, far better recoil direction at base than the Messenger does too, which is one of the big drawbacks of the Messenger that you definitely have to rectify with perks. So to summarize the stats, Elsie's Rifle, compared to the Messenger, is like if you were to buy a new co-op RPG with your buddy, and you're sitting side by side with your buddy, creating your characters at the same time. And you've got 10 stat points to spend at the beginning of the game while you're making your character. So you're trying to choose between strength and dexterity and charisma and intellect. And then you get done spending your 10 skill points. You look over at your buddy's screen to see if he's done yet. And you notice he didn't get 10 stat points to spend. Nah, he got freaking 45. He maxed out strength and charisma. So he's this huge, beefy, hard-hitting, lovable master manipulator, and here you are with noodle arms, but hey, you can twirl a knife really well. That's the stat difference going on here between Messenger and Elsie's. But let's talk about perks and roles. Now in the gameplay, you'll see clips from like 4 different roles, right? But the one that I used the most was definitely Keep Away and Headseeker. It just felt really clean, really reliable, and straight up 1v1 duels. But in the first column, we've got Rewind Rounds, Under Over, Keep Away, Loose Change, which got a nice buff by the way, Repulsor Brace, Zen Moment, and Feeding Frenzy. Couple of things to note here. Elsie's Rifle is a Void Pulse Rifle, so it has some of those key Void 3.0 perks like Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds in the next column, which we'll get to in a minute. But I got the two of those on the same roll, and it's pretty silly fun. But it's also pretty solid as a PvE option since Elsie's reloads so fast, which is one of the big pain points of these pulse rifles in PvE. But you can full send on some Void 3.0 synergy builds in PvE with this thing and just start making things blow up while you maintain an overshield. It's pretty cool. Obviously for PvP, Keep Away is exceptional and you cannot go wrong there. But also, Elsie's has something that the Messenger does not, and that is Zen Moment. Objectively, Zen Moment is the best stability perk in the game. I'm going to keep it real. Zen Moment reduces incoming flinch, reduces visual weapon shake, and reduces recoil significantly. I think this is the best perk in this slot for PvP for general dueling purposes. Keep away is a close second, but I just think Zen Moment is too good to pass up, and it's something the Messenger can't get. But I do want to mention something else. I want to mention that loose change can be solid in PvE too. If you get a loose change and destabilizing rounds roll, keep it. Try it out in Onslaught and see how the destabilizing rounds puts in work with crowd control, while also proccing loose change to give you 20 more aim assist, 50 reload speed for lightning fast reloads by granting you max 100 reload speed, and also giving you a 20% reduction to ADS movement speed. It's kind of baller. But let's move on to the second column. Here you've got Adrenaline Junkie, which actually isn't bad for kill chaining in PvP. It's not incredible either. Desperado, which couples really well with Zen Moment, so if you get that combo, try it out. Then Headseeker, which is an S tier dueling perk. The new perk Desperate Measures, which is a 10% damage buff, so it's not huge, but it's certainly no small buff either. I mean, you're going to feel the difference on a hard-hitting pulse like this one. But then you can also get a bigger damage buff after a melee or grenade final blow, similar to Golden Tricorn. So this could be good with Athros' Embrace. Then you've got the tried and true Kill Clip, which I have, and I've used it, and it's just as solid as ever. Then Destabilizing Rounds, which we've already mentioned, makes targets that you kill with the pulse rifle blow up and spread the volatile debuff to nearby enemies. It's kind of memey in PvP, but it can work. And finally, Frenzy, which isn't a bad perk, but I'm just not personally a huge fan of it, not a huge believer in it. I know it's nice for the 15% damage buff plus max handling, max reload speed, but we've already got great handling and reload speed built into the Elsies, so I'd rather full send on other damage perks that are more reliable and easier to activate. Ultimately, this column is really solid, and it's really up to you how you want to run this thing. If you're running a grenade-centric build, then you can get some good mileage out of Adrenaline Junkie. Desperado can be really dangerous in the current sandbox, especially with Zen Moment kicking in. Headseeker is an obvious banger perk on high impacts, just like it is on the Messenger. Kill Clip, tried and true for kill chaining, and Destabilizing Rounds works great in PvE. I mean, it's sort of dealer's choice here. I've tried a lot of combos, but the one I'm still hunting is Zen Moment and Desperado. That just sounds like good fun to me. Otherwise, Keep Away and Headseeker will probably remain my go-to PvP option for now, with loose change and destabilizing rounds for PvE. Okay, and here's where I start to deviate from the numbers and the values on paper and talk about that sort of ambiguous thing we call weapon feel. So take this section of the video with a grain of salt, because weapon feel is very subjective. You could have a wildly different experience than I did. But to me, my one complaint with Elsie's rifle is the way that it feels. It's the same problem I have with the Philotactic Spiral. I put great perks on it with great stats, and then somehow it just doesn't feel like it translates to a better firing experience for some reason. Now, I really like Elsie's rifle, but I would be lying to you if I said it feels better with all those extra stats than my Messenger feels. I don't know if it's the sight picture or the muzzle flash or what exactly it is about firing Elsie's rifle that feels so disorienting and bizarre, but the gun is just different. It feels different. The picture looks different. It's just different. And maybe you're gonna really get down with that different feel. And I definitely had some incredible games with Elsie's where it was shredding people and I felt dialed in, but those were more the exception than the rule. I wish it felt like that all the time, but sadly, it just did not. So to wrap this thing up with a neat little bow, Elsie's rifle has an insane stat package that's absolutely juiced, while also having a wide variety of exceptional perks to choose from, making it extremely desirable on paper. But for me personally, I'll continue to use the weapon for fun, but it definitely does not feel like a better pulse rifle in application than the Messenger does. I like it a lot, but I don't see it becoming a regular favorite for me anytime soon unless something magically clicks for me in a way that it did not before. If that happens, I'll let you know. But I want to know what you think of the weapon. Did you have a similar experience to me, or was your experience wildly different from mine? Hey, let me know in the comments below. Thanks as always for supporting the channel and for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, would you consider leaving a like, as that's the best free way to support my content here on YouTube, and consider subscribing for additional Destiny 2 content. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.